Series 2. We are doing Living World Season 3, Chapter 6. This is the final chapter for the Living World, so I was super excited about that. So last time we had beat up Balthazar's hounds and tried to stop him from accomplishing his goal to completely annihilate the Elder Dragons, I guess would be his overall goal, and collateral damage didn't really matter to him, I guess would be the moral of the story. So we head to Divinity's Reach and we talk to anybody. So I guess because Balthazar is a human deity, we're kind of like, okay, well, let's go talk to, I think it was a priest, but a worshiper of Balthazar, and he was just kind of like, if I knew where Balthazar was, do you seriously think, A, I would tell you, and B, I wouldn't be right there with him? Like, clearly he doesn't want us to know where he is, if he's anywhere at all. Like, so then we talk to Countess Anise, and she tells us that she has a contact that is searching for artifacts related to Lazarus, and the moral of the story is that these artifacts, I think it's the eye, it's like this pyramid thing, it's kind of interesting. It's an interesting concept, this whole chapter. It starts off feeling fairly connected and then kind of devolves into like not that connected. Like, I don't, this was a weird chapter, like, because obviously it has to wrap up any storylines that are not going to be in Path of Fire or that's not needed. Like, it helped transition into that story, but we don't need it anymore. So that this chapter is really like wrapping any of that nonsense up. So we have this whole thing with Lazarus and Countess Anise and the artifacts, and so it's kind of adding a couple new things, but like in order to wrap up that story kind of thing. So you'll see my Mesmer friend. He joined me for a while. In this chapter, he was kind of like, okay, are you done with this living world yet? Like, it's been all summer. I'm like, listen, alright, I'm on the last chapter, like, it's fine. He's like, okay, I'll play with you, like, boop, we'll get through it. And so he did a good chunk with me, and honestly, like, I felt bad because he really didn't need to help me with it. Like, it wasn't, we were obviously like doing it just to play together, like it wasn't because I needed the help necessarily. I mean, he did help with a couple of parts because I'm terrible at map navigation. So I finally got to a part, I'm like, listen, I can't, I don't know how to get here, like, you're gonna have to. He's like, he always has to remind me, he's like, do you know that I can't see your map, I can't see your quest markers? And I'm like, yeah, but we're in the same room, like, you can look at my computer screen and see my quest markers. And so he'll be like, oh yeah, okay, and he'll like look and be like, oh okay, and like take me there. It's hysterical. I'm like, you can see my shit, I can see your shit, like just help me out here, dude. Just find this area right here on the map. I don't understand. But the reason I felt kind of bad that he was helping me with this part of the world is because it was just such a long-winded section. Actually, did he help me? yeah, so he helped me through this whole section, and like the one part that I needed him for, or didn't need him for, but like he would have been nice to have, didn't have him for. So this is just a puzzle of mushrooms, which it was actually nice to have him here because he could go one mushroom way, I could go the other mushroom way, and it kind of made it a little quicker to figure it out. So, I mean, it's always nice to have a friend to play with. So yeah, it really was just not necessarily, I don't know, this chapter in and of itself was just like not amazing, but we essentially just had to do a bunch of stuff for the Shining Blade. That's what it's called. That's what the organization is called. It just popped up, Shining Blade. So we go through, we find the contact, we beat stuff up, we solve puzzles that weren't really like challenging puzzles. We beat a couple of stuff up. Those bloodstone crystals, like I feel like we're probably gonna continue seeing the crystals a little bit here and there because that was like a huge event that happened. Like the entire map in the first chapter is just devoted to that. So is it Shining? Yeah. So we find the contact, we help her out, we generally, it's hard because like we're a little suspicious of her, but also like we just really need to find Balthazar. Like I don't give zero shits at this point what shenanigans you're in. We need to find Balthazar. Like that's my whole character's MO right now, is like I give zero shits about what you're doing and what chaos you may or may not be causing. Like I don't care. I need to find Balthazar, and if you have something that's going to help me find Balthazar, I need it. Like that's the whole thing. And it's kind of like it's so weird because like you spend so much time like choosing your character, and you can actually like choose traits sort of for your character and your character selection, and like your character just is like fuck it, like this is my mission, this is what I'm doing, like I just need to save the world again, like saving the world again. I mean obviously it's a major threat, so obviously we have to, but gosh I just but we never went back to Irene either. Like we have not seen our little baby dragon. How's our little baby dragon doing, guys? We haven't seen her since like chapter 3. Chapter 3 or like the beginning of chapter 4. We haven't seen her. And I kind of wished in this like transition piece they included like, okay, yeah, go say hi to Irene or something. Like, I just want my little baby dragon. I just want my little baby dragon. I love her. I just want her to sit on my shoulder and just travel the world together. So we find the contact. We find the eye. The eye disappears again. So now we're tracking down the eye. And like I said, it's just super long-winded. So we find Anise. Did we find Anise? I think we found Anise. And we were like, alright, so-and-so, secrets, da-da-da-da-da. Oh no, it was a Templar to go see Anise. That's right, we had to go into the hideout. And so we went into the little hideout. And we talked some more. Like, it was just, oh, if you want to know our secrets, you have to be a shining blade. And I was like, then make me a shining blade. And everybody was just like, what? I'm like, listen, like, I have to stop Balthazar. If you're not going to tell me secrets, then make me a shining blade so you can tell me secrets. Like, it's not that complicated. I am on a mission here, so you can either help me with my mission or fuck off. Like, so, like, literally we have to just walk and talk with Anise and, like, okay, we're gonna do it. I'm like, I've defeated 2 dragons, helped stopped Balthazar already with another 2 dragons and putting them back to sleep. Like, really, really, and as leader or commander of the pact or whatever. So they're like, oh yeah, we'll let her into our Shining Blade Guild. I'm like, is there a fucking question? Really? There's a question about whether or not you'll let my character into your little guild? So then you have to go through the trials, which, alright, sure, we will go through your little trials, but like, I just, it was so, I don't want to say it was a waste of time, but also, like, I'm so conflicted because, like, I want the lore, but, like, you're just adding shit in to make more lore up. Like, just give me lore of, like, the fucking god I have to defeat. Like, not all of this fucking backstory bullshit, Shining Blade nonsense. And it's hard, too, because, like, the Shining Blade seems like they're in direct contrast to the group that was doing, like, the blood crystal stuff and, like, the Lazarus worshippers, I'm gonna call them. But, like, at this point, Lazarus isn't really on our radar. I guess they're still on the Shining Blade's radar. I don't know. They're seeking out artifacts or whatever. And then we have to... whatever. So this particular battle was interesting. So we couldn't have our friend help us. Like, he was still tagging along. Like, he just had to watch. And there was at one point he was like, oh, am I supposed, like, can I help from up here? And it was just kind of like, oh no, I can't. So I had to beat up myself, first of all, which is apparently a fucking task. But then I started noticing, like, my cooldowns were fucking shit. And I, like, my fiance is watching and he's like, why are you doing that? And I was like, look at my screen, like, my cooldowns are a mess. Like, my cooldowns are taking a beating. Like, I have a cooldown debuff. And he was like, oh, and we're looking at it and kind of, like, processing what's going on. And, like, the shadow, like, I'm gonna call them shadows, but, like, the visions of insecurity are around, and, like, I knew they were relevant, but, like, I couldn't really figure out how. Well, they were important because every time they popped up, it was giving me the debuff every time I didn't sort them out. So you're supposed to confront your insecurity, right? And then you can beat yourself up some more, and then you confront another insecurity and you can beat yourself up some more. And, like, this was painful. This was a painful one. And he was just stuck watching it. Like, I'm like, dude, I know, like, I know. I feel you, dude. I feel you. Like, I'm living it. So once we figured it out and we were like, okay, I have to go and I have to confront the vision, and then I can attack myself. Like, it gives me, like, this shadow ball thing. I don't even know how to describe it. Like, it's a puzzle boss. That's the moral of the story, is it's a puzzle boss. And it took me way too long to figure out the puzzle. I don't know. Happens. I'm a pain in the ass to beat up. Especially when there's ghosty help. I am a pain in the ass to beat up. Which I knew I was, but like, having to fight a vision of yourself that can do all that. And like, my fiance was watching and he's just like, your guy just fucking disappeared. I'm like, I know I just disappear. That's the whole fucking point of my characters. I can just whoop away from whatever I'm fighting, or whoop to whoever I'm fighting. Like, that's the whole fucking point, is that you don't fucking see me as much as humanly possible. So we did eventually do it, and they're like, yay, you can be part of the Shining Blade, la 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 la. So we have to listen to them talk some more. I swear they just put that fighting in there because they're like, oh, we're so sorry you have to listen to everybody talk so much. Like, here's some fighting. Like, that's not how balancing works. That's not... Like, I understand. Like, I understand why it was necessary for me to become a Shining Blade, but also, like, was it really necessary for me to become a Shining Blade? I question it. I don't think at all that it was a necessary thing for me to do. But then I have to go find contact number 487, and you know, so we have to go on a boat. A boaty boat, I believe, is what we're doing. And then they're gonna take us to a place, and then we're gonna go to the place and do the thing, and oh man, I was just over this chapter and the living world at this point. I'm like, listen, because at this point I knew that Path of Fire is not centered around a fire dragon and Primordus. It's centered around Balthazar. So whatever this chapter threw at me was not going to be an end, right? Like, it's setting up for for Path of Fire. And so we end up going to Siren's Landing. Hippie! This map, not as bad, a lot bigger than I thought it was. Like, when we first look at it and you first look at the map, like, I didn't zoom out very far, so like, I did not think this part of the map was that big, and then we got into it and I was like, oh shit. This is a fucking huge ass map. But it was nice traveling with him because he was like, oh, you want a Vista? And I was like, I don't fucking do Vistas. Like, unless they are in my face, like, I do not do Vista. And she's like, but I can portal you up there. And I was like, all right, yeah, sure. Portal me up there. He's like, wait, he's like, have you seriously not been getting, like, the Vistas and stuff? And I was like, nah. Like, if it's not an immediate, if it's not an easy, like, get the Vista here, like, no, I absolutely have not been getting the vistas. I absolutely have not been getting the points of interest. Like, I will go out of my way to get waypoints, but that's it. Waypoints are the only thing I prioritize on the maps, and I generally won't go super far out of my way to get them, but I know waypoints are super helpful, so I do try to get waypoints whenever they pop up on my mini-map or whatever. But vistas, points of interest, hearts, I generally don't, unless, like, the hearts actually, in this living world especially, and I think a little bit, no, I think mostly just this living world. I don't think it was so much in Heart of Thorns either. The hearts have been, like, the quests, like, they've been coinciding, so I've been getting more of the hearts done, but if the heart is not part of the quest, or it's not, like, coinciding at all, I don't do it. I just, if I get something for it, I get something for it. If I don't, I don't. So my map completion, for the most part, is fairly atrocious. It's fairly atrocious. It's one of those things where I did the map completion with my very first character, my ranger, who's still only level 30. And that's because I had, like, tomes of knowledge or whatever to get her to level 30. But the very first map she was on, I did it all. I did the vistas, I did the waypoints, I did the points of interest, I did the heart. Like, I got 100% map completion. And if I don't have to, if I'm just playing through the story, I am not worried about map completion. Like, no, if you want me to get map completion, make it part of the story, because, like, some of those maps are huge, and, like, it makes sense when you have the mounts, because the mounts cut travel time and, like, exploration time and stuff drastically. They reduce that nonsense. So yeah, once you have a mount, absolutely go around and complete the maps. But I didn't have a glider until Heart of Thorns. I don't have a mount as of right now. Like, I'm not worried about map completion until I get farther along. Like I said, I'll snag waypoints because waypoints are helpful, but, like, just not worried about it. So we are getting information about, like, this is their attempt at including a little bit of, like, lore and backstory, I guess, for the deities and gods and things. So we are on our way to start, like, we have to go through the different reliquaries and get them. I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this the right way. Essentially, Zaitan's influence is still in the area. I didn't realize initially that we were back in Ur, or in a different part of Ur, which is where Zaitan was. So we're on this part of Ur, and Zaitan's influence is still very much present, and we are essentially just going through and freeing, like, the different reliquaries of the different beings. So in each one we had to go talk to the spirit, do the heart for the area, and then move on got to the next one. Like, it was essentially the gist of things. Map, not super hard to navigate. It was actually fairly simple. There were a couple of parts here and there that were annoying. But you start off the first one, and it kind of gets you into the rhythm of things, and then they're like, here you go, here's the other 4 you have to do. Because I think there were 5 sections we ended up doing. So it was interesting. But yeah, it was essentially just do the hearts in each area, and you know, we did that, and so yeah, now we have to find the other reliquaries. So we go through, we beat a bunch of stuff up, we complete the heart, we go to the next reliquary, we do the heart, go to the next reliquary and do the heart, and then eventually we can... Where did this take us? Why am I drawing a blank? I think I just moved this whole section out. Like, just because I played through it doesn't mean it sank in. No, it did, because it was a pain in the butt. It wasn't, but there was one section that was very, very annoying. We're not there yet. The gliding section was very annoying, and I happened to hit it during event time, which in and of itself isn't bad, but it's not bad if there's enough people to participate in the event. This one. No. Yes. Almost? Yeah. This flyy area, this gliding area was a pain in the butt. Because within the circle that you needed to do, there just wasn't... I just ended up beating up a whole shitload of spiders. I died to the spiders as well, because, like, I didn't realize they were laying the egg sacs as I was fighting, so, like, it just kept spawning and spawning and spawning, and I had drifted away from my mesmer friend. Like, he was totally like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm on just a little cliffside around this, like, water thing, and he was like, there's like 6 cliff sides, and I was like, I don't know, find me. Like, I can't tell you where I am, we know that. God, you think I'm bad at navigating? Wait till you ask me to help you navigate to me. That's just not... That's a terrible idea. So yeah, we're just flying around trying to do this hard. I end up getting the Vista because it was fairly easy to land on. And it was one of those things where this just took me... I even, like, swam around in the water. Like, there's gotta be something else to beat up here. Like... And it seems like a huge area with, like, the green area that you're working in, but, like, it's really not. And it really, like, was just the spiders to beat up. Like, it was obnoxious. And, like, there were a couple of those things, but not many. There were not many of those pillars I could find at all to do. And like I said, randomly, the events popped up. So that was annoying. But it attracted a few people to the area, so I was like, okay, well, maybe, like, people are actually doing this or whatever. But it just was not quite enough. So it was an interesting interesting time, to say the least. I guess eventually I was just like, I'm just gonna beat up spiders because I don't know what else to do. Like, I can't do anything else. I could not find enough stuff to do for this heart. It was a grind. It was a pain. He eventually logged out because he had other stuff to do, and like, was literally, and I was like, I know. And then literally like a little bit after he left was when I think at this point the wyvern had already appeared. Yeah, so there I am showing him like that fucking thing has appeared, and he's like, oh. He's like, do you need me to log back in and help? And I was like, I'm not touching that. I'm not touching that at all. And he goes, oh, and he was like, oh, isn't there a bunch of people? I'm like, not enough. Not enough to take on a fucking wyvern. Like, no. I'm flying around and continuing to get this heart done. Like, I am not doing the wyvern. Like, it was it's just not worth it to me on that one. Yeah, I was just like, nope, I'm out. Peace out, Cub Scout. Not having it. Let me continue grinding away at these fucking spiders some more. I was so annoyed with this heart. I was so done. I was almost like, out. I'm out. And I was like, I can't be out. I have to finish it. I have to. I can't just not finish it. I can't just not finish it. Because this is another map where there's not that many waypoints, and I didn't want to be waypoint fucked again. So I kept beating up spiders. This is a long ass section. I probably could have just sped this section up on its own, like more so than the normal 4 times. I forgot how terrible this was. Okay. Finish that reliquary. And I'm on to the next one. And then, oh yeah, Timey had been like, oh, Bram, Jormog, my character's like, no. Nope, I do not have time for Bram and his Jormog nonsense. Like, I am busy doing shit. Like, we have more important shit that needs to be done right now. So now we're in the next reliquary. I think we're in Balthazar's reliquary. Frickin' flame things. So I figured out I could just post up here and just take out these 2 lava slugs, because by the time I killed one, the next one would respawn, and I could just sit here. And I was like, this is cheaty. Like, I can't just sit here and do it. And then I was like, maybe I can. And I went and saved the guy, and then I was like, and like, I already had that much of the heart filled up, and I'm like, I gotta go do something else. Like, I cannot just sit here and take out the slugs the entire time. Like, I just had to destroy a whole bunch of spiders. Like, I can't just park it here and do it. Almost did, but I was just like, that's cheaty. So I did end up doing a couple other things for the reliquary heart. I was just like, oh my god. And then they put this fucking merchant in like lava slug critter central, and there was just so much. I was like, oh my god. But this is the easiest one to like just beat up everything. Like, there was so many like bad guys in this area to beat up. And I was just like, alright, cool, like, sweet. And we had to go to Lys's reliquary, which again, not in and of itself an issue. Like I said, this map wasn't that challenging to navigate. Like, please excuse my junk. I usually get out my inventory management. Apparently I did not this time. So we went to Lys's reliquary, which her reliquary was probably the most interesting, I would say. It was a pain in the butt. It wasn't a pain in the butt to get there. It was pretty straightforward, but because I walk everywhere. But I hadn't even, like, made it into the depths of Balthazar's reliquary to, like, I didn't even know that was where the heart location was until, like, I was walking. I was like, oh shit, like, there is a whole ass section I didn't get to. So we find Abaddon's reliquary, but that's the last section. So we kind of skip and hop and jump our way over from Abaddon's to Lysa's reliquary. And I ended up stumbling into a couple more events. And the events sort of coincided with the heart and what I was doing, so it was pretty easy to just get it done, and everybody showed up. Like, I think everybody that was on the map actually showed up for this event, like these couple of events. So I was like, alright, cool, like, I'll help out, like, because it's not like they were particularly struggling, but it became fairly obvious what needed to be done. Oh my gosh, this was a shark. So you're going through, and then is this where the event showed up? Yeah, the shark showed up. I didn't know what to do. It was chasing me, and like, so because it was chasing me, other people could beat it up, and so then once it aggroed onto somebody else, I could help beat it up. But holy shit, that shark was annoying. But like I said, there were enough other people around that it made it okay to do. So I actually hung around and finished the events because there was like the shark, and then there was this one where we had to deposit stuff. So I hung around and was depositing the essence or spirit or something, essence of it, and so we just did that, and then something else showed up, and I was like, oh my god. But by that point there were enough of us that we just beat it up super quick, and I was like, alright, I'm out. I got somewhere else to be. Good day. Good day. I said good day. And back to the reliquary. It's like, I'm going back to Abaddon's reliquary now. Good day. Because fortunately, we are near the end of this chapter. This last part, okay, we're getting to a part. It kind of made me giggle because the character is exactly what I would consider doing in that situation. Like, yeah, I would. So we go here and we get a hold of what's her name, and like, okay, we're here, we made it in, like, and she's like, okay, I'll meet you there, like, don't do anything, don't touch anything. And I was like, I'm already inside. I'm already looking around, and I poked it. I poked it, and all the bad guys came out, and I was like, of course. Yep. And she's like, you really? And I was just like, I was just looking. Like, it's a pile of rocks. It's a pile of rocks. How How was I supposed to know a pile of rocks was gonna spawn in like 18,000 sentient rock golem things? Like, I didn't know. I didn't know. So we beat up the sentient rock golem things and we move on to the next section. And this drove me a little crazy because we had to keep waiting for her to like open up the doors and shit, and like she was like, oh, let me figure it out. I was like, oh, you need a power source. And I was like, what? And I looked and I'm like, oh, all the power sources are over there, because those are exactly like the little orby things from the last chapter that we had to fly around and get. I figured out I could shadow step over 98% of the fire. Even though the fire would change patterns, like, I just waited for my cooldown and like shadow stepped my way over. Called it a fucking day. And this last one I was like, alright, I'll just whatever. And I dodged over instead, and then my shadow step was up, so I could just do that. And then weird, I had to wait for her again. But that made that task so easy. Like, it was so nice to just be done. I'm like, oh, I need to shadow step everything, everywhere, all the time. So then we had to investigate the rooms. Oh, these fucking things were a pain in my ass. Just fire all the time, just fire everywhere. And I was trying really hard to find like a pattern on the floor, and the pattern kept changing. And then it finally like leveled out a little bit. But like, you had your fire harpy thing, and then you had the little baby fire harpies, and it was just, I almost hit the wrong button though. I almost did what I did last time where I set myself out of the instance. I would have rage quit if I had taken myself out of the instance. But this was just one of those things where I was just slow and steady beating it up. Like, what did you want me to do against all that fire on the floor? Like, I kept trying, and like I could tell what the patterns were, but like by the time I could even like react to go there, I'm just like, fuck it. Like, I just ended up like standing in a spot or two and just shooting it with my bow. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck else I need to do in this situation. Like, this is impossible. Like, I do not know what the trick is for beating this particular boss. I really don't know. There was just so much fire, and like you could hide in the corner, but then he would drop a fire bomb on you. So like, you can stand in the fire and die, or you can stand next to the fire and get firebombed and die. Like, it was just, I don't even know how I ended up beating it. But then I was like, I don't want to go into this next room. Like, I don't want to. And then it was fucking rocks. And I'm like, you bastards. So I ended up, it's again, similar method, like just grinding it out, letting myself die. Like, it wasn't as obnoxious as the fire, because like it didn't have like the traps or whatever. Like, all of the ground stuff that happened, all of the earthquakes and stuff were like, he triggered it, so like his moves and stuff, so they were a little easier to dodge and move around and stuff. But like, sometimes it was just, there was no free space to dodge to, or like by the time I would dodge to one area, the next attack was up. And so it was annoying. It was annoying. This whole fucking shit was just pain in my dick. And at this point, I was just like, hey, I could really use some help right about now. I did. I almost asked for help. And then I was like, I can't. I mean, I can, but I can't, because if I ask for help, I have to redo the entire instance. And I don't want to do that. That's painful. So I was like, okay, so clearly this eye of, I guess it's not the eye of Lazarus. I just say it's the eye of Lazarus because you fucking need it to find Lazarus and his artifacts and whatever. But whatever the hell it is, Eye of Janthier, maybe that sounds right. Eye of Janthier. Throw rocks at it. That was the whole fucking shit, was just like throw rocks at it. So then we go to this room and she's like, yeah, I'm resurrecting Lazarus. And I was just like, oh, how does that help me find Balthazar? And she was like, it doesn't, but this is what we're doing. And she was like, okay, you gotta help me out with this. And I was like, do I? Like, alright, cool. So we resurrect him and he calls her by a completely different name, like Olivia or Livia or something. And I'm just like, am I supposed to know who the fuck that is? Like, where in this story they tell me about Olivia and Lazarus' epic battle? Like, now I assume she is some sort of like, I assume they told me who she was in passing or something. But again, I'm not paying attention to the fucking text boxes. I'm really not. It's fucking pain in my ass. So this was essentially like each aspect of Lazarus, like each of the artifacts that you found, turned into like a specter thing. If you hit, I did it on accident the first 2 times. The first 2 aspects I did it on total accident, and so I had to like actually think about, I'm like, how in the fuck did I get those aspects to show up? And I was like, oh, the Eye of Janthier has to be next to a pedestal, and then you throw the rock at it and it creates the specter from the aspect. Obviously that was only the first 3 aspects. The last 2 aspects are something different, because of course they are. And then your whole mission was keeping Carita, Olivia person alive. I'm like, maybe, yeah, sure, or you could just let me beat shit up, like. So then you have to protect her, and now there's shocky spark things you gotta do. And then I was just like, you know what? Bow and arrow time, poison them up. And that worked a little bit. And then the sparks would be like, oh, I'm gonna eat your face instead of eating her face. And then I'd be like, don't eat my face. Eat her face, not my face. You don't want me. So eventually, she like is destroying the shields for the aspects, like, is the moral of the story. So I just ended up like poisoning and shooting the different sparks. And then, you know, what's that? Like, and the hard part was, is like the aspect in and of itself really wasn't that difficult to beat up. Like, if I could actually get my knives into the aspect, it went down pretty quickly, for the most part. So I just beating it up, and then Carita's trying to get the shield off the other one, and I'm like, you're gonna have to wait because I can't take on 17,000 sparks and aspect and resurrect you. Like, that's just not how this works. Like, I cannot attack and resurrect. Like, if I'm resurrecting you, that's all I'm doing. Like, I can't. There is nothing else I can do if I am resurrecting you. It's just not a thing. So I get the one aspect taken care of, and then I gotta get her through doing the other one. It was just... sometimes it's not... it's hard because it's not like it's challenging. It just seems like some of it is unnecessarily grindy. This doesn't have to be a grind. This does not have to be this complicated. It really doesn't. Like, it's a very straightforward task. Making it more impossible does not give more reward to it. Doesn't. I don't feel any better. I just feel exhausted and like I don't want to play your game anymore. After the fact. Y'all are mean to me. So then we actually get to beat up Lazarus. Which, I'm not gonna lie, I was not expecting that. I really was not expecting, like, to have to beat up Lazarus. I really wasn't. I was like, oh, well, Balthazar used the image of Lazarus, and I kind of thought that that was it. Like, I didn't really think we would have to go back through and, like, beat up Lazarus. Like, that wasn't... I sort of understand why we had to do it, but at the same time, I'm like, did we, though? Did we really, though? Like... I feel like we're stretching it just a little bit here, friends. That's what I mean. Like, it sort of wraps it up, but also, like, were we really in danger of Lazarus showing up at some point? Like, did we think Balthazar was gonna resurrect Lazarus? It's really purely just because we ended up, like, this chick wanted to beat him up. That's how we ended up in this scenario. I'm like, okay, great. Now how do I fucking find Balthazar? Oh yeah, I had to stick him with a thing. Oh yeah, and then I could, like, ask the thing something or other, and it could show me where Balthazar was or something. I don't know. It was just... seek answers from the eye. Like... okay, great. Everything's burning. What? Okay, but I guess that means we have to go to Backfire. Yay! Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.